For thousands of years, they have stood against the desert winds. Empires have risen and fallen around them. Kings have vanished. Languages have disappeared. Entire civilizations have been forgotten. Yet, the pyramids remain. Even today, the Great Pyramid of Giza continues to raise questions that fascinate historians, engineers, and travelers alike. How did people living over 4,000 years ago build structures so enormous? Why were they willing to dedicate vast amounts of labor and resources to these monuments? And what do the pyramids reveal about the civilization that created them? The answers begin with the rise of Egypt's first pharaohs. Following the unification of Egypt under Narmer, the Nile Valley entered a period of increasing stability. For the first time, rulers controlled vast territories stretching from the Mediterranean delta to the southern reaches of Upper Egypt. Agriculture flourished, trade expanded, the population grew, and with prosperity came ambition. The new rulers needed ways to demonstrate their authority. They wanted symbols that would remind every Egyptian that the pharaoh stood above all others. But Egyptian kings were not viewed as ordinary rulers. They were believed to possess divine authority. Many Egyptians saw the pharaoh as the earthly representative of the gods. Protecting order in the world was considered one of his sacred duties. This concept became known as Ma'at. Ma'at represented balance, harmony, truth, and stability. If the pharaoh succeeded, Egypt prospered. If he failed, chaos threatened the kingdom. Religion and government became inseparable. The king ruled both the state and the sacred world. Near the boundary between Upper and Lower Egypt stood Memphis. Its location made it one of the most important cities in the ancient world. From Memphis, pharaohs could control trade routes, agriculture, and communication across the kingdom. Government officials gathered there. Merchants traveled there. Priests performed rituals there. As Egypt became wealthier, royal burial practices also evolved. Early kings were buried in tombs called mastabas. These were rectangular structures built from mud brick and later stone. Although impressive for their time, they were relatively simple compared to what would come later. Yet, they reflected a growing belief that the pharaoh's journey did not end with death. The Egyptians believed in an afterlife. They believed that the soul could continue living beyond the grave. To ensure survival, the body had to be preserved. Food, tools, furniture, and treasures were often buried alongside the dead. Everything needed for eternity was placed within the tomb. This belief would eventually inspire one of history's greatest architectural revolutions. Around 2670 BC, a remarkable figure emerged in Egyptian history. His name was Imhotep. Unlike most people of his era, Imhotep's name survived for thousands of years. He served Pharaoh Djoser as architect, advisor, priest, and scholar. Many historians consider him the first known genius in recorded history. Djoser wanted a tomb unlike any that had ever existed. Imhotep responded with a revolutionary idea. Instead of building a single mastaba, he stacked several mastabas on top of one another. The result was extraordinary. The step pyramid of Saqqara. Rising above the desert, it became the largest stone structure humanity had ever built. For the first time, architecture reached a completely new scale. The step pyramid transformed Egyptian construction forever. It also sent a clear message. The pharaoh's power extended beyond death itself. If you've ever visited a famous historical monument, tell us which one in the comments. Was it a castle, a temple, a cathedral, or perhaps an ancient ruin? We'd love to know. The success of Djoser's pyramid inspired future rulers. Soon, pharaohs sought even greater monuments. Among them was a king named Sneferu. Few rulers contributed more to pyramid development than Sneferu. Yet, his path was filled with failures. His first major project was the Pyramid of Medum. Originally designed as a step pyramid, it was later modified into a smooth-sided pyramid. The design proved unstable. Large sections eventually collapsed. Undeterred, Sneferu tried again. The result was the bent pyramid. Partway through construction, engineers changed the angle of the structure. The unusual shape remains visible today. It stands as a reminder that even ancient master builders learned through trial and error. Finally, Sneferu achieved success. His red pyramid became the first true pyramid in history. With smooth sides and stable engineering, it established the design that would inspire future generations. Egypt had solved the puzzle. Now the greatest challenge still lay ahead. Around 2580 BC, Pharaoh Khufu inherited a powerful kingdom. But Khufu desired something unprecedented. He wanted a monument larger than anything humanity had ever attempted. The location chosen was the Giza Plateau. There, workers began constructing what would become the Great Pyramid. Millions of stone blocks had to be quarried, transported, and carefully positioned. Teams of skilled laborers worked in organized groups. Engineers planned every detail. Administrators tracked supplies and manpower. The project required extraordinary coordination. Far from being built by slaves, evidence suggests that many workers were paid laborers serving the state. Entire communities supported the construction effort. Farmers often contributed labor during the Nile flood season, when fields could not be cultivated. The Great Pyramid became a national project, a symbol of Egypt itself. After more than 2 decades of work, the structure was completed. Standing nearly 481 feet tall, it became the tallest man-made structure on Earth, and it would hold that record for almost 4,000 years. Pause for a moment and imagine that achievement. Thousands of years before modern cranes, engines, or computers, people built a monument that still dominates the horizon today. Khufu's successors continued building at Giza. His son Khafra constructed another magnificent pyramid nearby. Many scholars believe he also commissioned the Great Sphinx. Carved from a massive limestone outcrop, the Sphinx remains one of history's most mysterious monuments. Its lion's body symbolizes strength. Its human face represents royal authority. Together, they guarded the sacred landscape of Giza. Later, Menkaure built a smaller pyramid, completing the famous trio that still defines Egypt's skyline today. For generations, the Giza Plateau stood as the ultimate expression of royal power. Travelers approaching Egypt would have seen these monuments rising above the desert. They were impossible to ignore. They announced to the world that Egypt possessed wealth, organization, and ambition unlike any civilization before it. The age of the pyramids marked the height of Egypt's old kingdom. The pharaoh commanded immense authority. Agriculture produced abundant harvests. Trade networks connected Egypt to distant lands. Art, architecture, and religion flourished. The kingdom seemed unstoppable. Yet history teaches us a familiar lesson. No civilization remains at its peak forever. The very system that made pyramid construction possible would eventually face enormous challenges. Royal resources became stretched. Regional leaders gained influence, and cracks slowly began to appear beneath the surface of Egypt's golden age. The age of the pyramids was magnificent, but it would not last forever. The pyramids were far more than tombs. They were symbols of faith, power, engineering, and ambition. They represented a civilization confident enough to build for eternity. And for a time, it seemed that Egypt had achieved exactly that. Yet beyond the shining limestone monuments, new problems were beginning to emerge. In the next episode, we will witness the decline of the Old Kingdom, the collapse of centralized power, and the dramatic rebirth of Egypt during the Middle Kingdom. The Age of Glory is ending. The Age of Crisis is about to begin. Thank you for watching Crowned History. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a comment, and share your favorite pyramid or Egyptian monument below. And join us next time for Episode 3, Collapse and Rebirth. The story of ancient Egypt is only getting started.